We weren't speaking anymore, not because there was nothing to say, but because words felt too sharp for what was happening between us. Your breath slowed first, mine followed, like it trusted you to set the pace. The space between our faces held something fragile, something listening. The quiet between our breaths was louder than anything we'd said all night. I could feel the moment stretching thin as glass, strong enough to hold us if neither of us moved wrong. Your lips parted slightly, not asking, not offering, just existing. I noticed details I never remember. Laid away, your chest rose unevenly. The warmth where your knee brushed mine. How the room seemed to dim itself out of respect. We were close enough that I could feel your hesitation before I could see it. That subtle pause right before surrender decides whether to arrive or retreat. The quiet between our breaths was where desire learned patience, where wanting didn't rush to become taking. I leaned in slowly, not to close the distance, but to honor it. My forehead hovered near yours, close enough to blur the edges of everything else. You inhaled deep and careful, as if you were afraid the sound might break something. I exhaled into the space you left, and for a moment we shared the same air. It felt intimate in a way touch hadn't reached yet. Time stopped behaving normally, seconds lost their shape. All that mattered was the rhythm we were building without agreeing to it. The quiet between our breaths taught me your tempo, taught me when to stay still, taught me when closeness was already enough. Your hand rested near mine, not touching, but close enough to feel the heat. That almost contact carried more weight than certainty ever does. I wondered how many people rush past this moment, how many never learned to listen here. This place where bodies confess before mouths do. When our lips finally met, it was soft, unambitious, like we were afraid of losing the silence we built. A kiss that didn't ask for more, didn't promise anything beyond itself. We pulled back slowly, still connected by breath, still suspended in that fragile calm. Nothing collapsed, nothing escalated, and somehow that made it nothing unforgettable. The quiet between our breaths stayed with me after, in the dark, in the space you left behind. In the way my body remembered how to slow down. Some moments don't need sound to echo forever. Some nights are defined by what almost happens, and the silence brave enough to hold it. said you should probably go, but your body didn't listen. Key still on the table, jacket half forgotten, eyes lingering like they were waiting for something to stop you. The room held its breath again. It was getting used to that. I watched you from the corner of my calm, pretending I wasn't counting every second you didn't move. There's a kind of courage in leaving, there's another kind in staying. You were caught somewhere between them, almost brave enough to stay, almost reckless enough to believe this wasn't just a moment passing through us. The light was low but not forgiving. It showed the truth in your expression, wanting without a plan, feeling without protection. You ran a hand through your hair, that quiet gesture people make when they're negotiating with themselves. I knew that motion already, it meant the door was still open. Not the one behind you, the one between us. I didn't reach for you, I didn't need to. You were already closer than you meant to be. Your shadow rested against my chest like it had found its place, almost brave enough to stay. You let the silence stretch, let it say the things neither of us trusted our voices with. If you left now, we could pretend this was nothing. A glance held too long, a night misread. If you stayed, something would change without asking permission. Your breath slowed, mine followed. That's how I knew you were still here. You sat beside me, close but not touching, as if proximity alone might be enough to confess. I felt the warmth of your knee, the quiet electricity of almost. You whispered something meaningless just to hear your own voice break the spell. It didn't work. Almost brave enough to stay. You leaned back, head against the wall, eyes closed like you were listening to a truth forming inside you. I wondered what it would cost you to choose this. I wondered what it would cost me if you didn't. No promises were made, no future imagined out loud, just a shared understanding that some nights ask more from us than we planned to give. When you finally turned to me, your voice was softer, your smile unsure. You didn't say you were staying, you just stayed. And that was enough to make the night feel different forever. We were careful with each other then, not out of fear, out of not knowing where the edges were. Your name still felt new in my mouth, mine hadn't settled on you yet. We spoke like people, walking through unfamiliar rooms, touching nothing without permission. We were still strangers then, but not distant, close in that tentative way where everything feels possible, because nothing has history. I remember how polite we were, how we listened closely, as if missing a detail might cost us something later. Your stories were still introductions, not references. Mine were still explanations. You sat across from me, body angled slightly away, as if leaving room for uncertainty to breathe. I like that you didn't rush closer, it made the closeness feel earned. We were still strangers then, so silence didn't scare us. It felt neutral, unclaimed, a place to rest without expectation. I noticed how you held your cup, both hands wrapped around it, as if grounding yourself in something solid. I noticed everything, because nothing was familiar enough to fade into background. Your laugh surprised you, mine surprised me. We smiled after, not sure what it meant, only that it felt good to share something unplanned. We were still strangers then, so desire stayed quiet, not absent, just patient. It watched from a distance, learning our shapes. When our knees touched, we both froze for half a second, not awkward, aware that brief stillness said more than an apology ever could. I wondered who you were when you were alone. You probably wondered the same about me. We didn't ask, some questions need time to grow into themselves. The night didn't treat us specially yet. It hadn't adjusted its lighting, hadn't slowed its rhythm. It was just a night, unaware of what might come later. We were still strangers then, and that gave the moment a certain honesty. No assumptions, no rules, just two people choosing to stay present. When we said goodbye, it felt unfinished, not incomplete, open, like a sentence paused mid-thought, waiting to see if it would be continued. I walked away carrying that version of us, untouched by familiarity, unshaped by expectation, a memory defined by possibility, not outcome. Sometimes I miss that night, not because it was better than what followed, but because it was pure. We were still strangers then, and everything was still allowed to become something else. I didn't know yet how heavy wanting could become. That came later, with memory, with consequence, with the slow education of loss. That night, wanting was still clean, still untouched. It hadn't learned how to bruise. You sat close, close enough to feel familiar without earning it. Your presence felt simple and not easy, just unburdened. The innocence of wanting lived in the way we didn't plan, didn't calculate, didn't protect ourselves from what might happen next. I wanted you without narrative, without outcome, just the quiet pull of noticing a feeling, something lean toward me and not stepping away. Your eyes held mine longer than politeness requires, not challenging, curious as if you were discovering a new sensation in real time. The innocence of wanting meant there was no strategy, no timing, no question of who would care more. Just a soft internal yes that hadn't learned how to doubt. We spoke slowly, not because we were careful, but because we were present. Each word landed gently, unrushed, like nothing was chasing us. I remember how natural it felt to imagine you closer, not touching, just near, as if proximity alone could answer something unnamed. Your hand moved when you laughed, a small unthinking gesture. I followed it with my eyes before realizing I had you noticed. You didn't hide it. The innocence of wanting isn't loud, it doesn't demand, it doesn't beg to be fulfilled. It just exists, warm and open, trusting the moment not to betray it. When our knees brushed, neither of us reacted. No apology, no emphasis, the contact stayed because it didn't yet know how to mean too much. The night felt wide then, unassigned, like it could hold anything without collapsing under it. Even desire still learning its own way. I wanted you without fear of aftermath, without imagining absence, without the knowledge that some feelings change once they're answered. Later, wanting would become complicated. It would learn to hesitate, to measure, to protect itself. But that night, it was still innocent, still untrained, still pure in its curiosity. And sometimes when the world feels heavy with knowing, I return to that version of myself, the one who wanted without armor, without expectation, Just a quiet openness in the dark, trusting that wanting alone could be enough. There was a night before the wait arrived, before choices learned consequences, before we started editing ourselves for safety. That's where this lives. When everything was still possible, we sat in the middle of uncertainty, and it felt wide, not empty, open, like the future hadn't decided how close it would stand. You smiled without meaning anything by it. I returned it the same way, no subtext yet, no memory attached, just two expressions existing without defense. When everything was still possible, we didn't measure moments, we let them happen. Laughter came easily, left quietly. Nothing lingered long enough to demand explanation. I remember thinking how light your presence felt, not shallow, unburdened, as if you hadn't been asked yet to become important. The night hadn't chosen a mood, music low and distant, lights forgiven, time cooperative, even silence felt generous. When everything was still possible, desire hadn't picked a direction. It wandered, curious but undecided. It didn't need to arrive anywhere. Your knee brushed mine and it meant nothing, which is to say it meant everything later. At the time it was just proximity. I watched you talk, hands moving freely, unaware of how closely I was paying attention. I like that about you, that you weren't performing yet. We didn't imagine aftermath, didn't ask who would stay, didn't wonder how it might end. Endings weren't part of the vocabulary. When everything was still possible, even leaving felt gentle. A goodbye that didn't ache, a promise not yet invented. I carried that night with me, not because it was intense, but because it was unclaimed, because it belonged to no storyline but itself. Later possibility would narrow, moments would harden into decisions, care would learn fear. But that night remains untouched, preserved in its openness, a reminder of how it feels before things ask for commitment. When everything was still possible, we didn't know what we were starting, and that ignorance was its own kind of grace. Sometimes in the quiet after everything else, I return there, not to change the outcome, but to remember how light it felt to not yet know. I'm just barely trying tonight. Oh, I almost tired. I can notice this room is seen in the desert. Shadows sit in corners, not moving, not shy. And my thoughts get louder, the quieter we are. You're on the other side of the dead, not far, not near, close enough to feel you, far enough to fear. The space between us feels intentional now, like a question we're both refusing to ask out loud. Oh, heavy thoughts pressing down on my chest. A regret waited. What we haven't confessed. I'm not sad, not restless, just full of something unnamed. Desire mixed with memory, soft, uncontained. Your phone lights up once, then goes dark again. Like even it understands this isn't the moment. You run your hand through your hair, so distracted, and I wonder what version of me you're silently imagining. The night outside hums low, traffic softened by rain. Inside my mind circles the same quiet terrain. I think about distance, about telling, about choice, about how close you are without using your voice. Light, heavy thoughts moving slower than time, each one landing gently but refusing to lie. I wanna reach for you, not to pull, not to claim, just to see if the weight lifts a little with your name. You speak eventually, something small, something plain, but the meaning stretches far beyond the sentence you say. I answer carefully, as if words could bruise, as if honesty needs to be used. Slow to your eyes meet mine, then look away, not from disinterest, but from everything they'd say. I feel the tension settle right under my skin, a quiet understanding we're both living in. Oh, heavy thoughts share without exchange, two people carrying the same thing, but naming it would change. With shape of this moment, the safety of unknowing. Sometimes weight feels better than letting something open. I turn onto my side, face you fully now crossing the distance, just closing the angle. Somehow you don't move closer, but you don't move away, and that stillness says enough for today. The light grows softer, or maybe my eyes do, as the night deepens around me and you. My guides slowly pace, learning how to rest. clock is still on the wall, but it stopped asking questions. Minutes slipping quietly out of their own direction. The room feels wider somehow, or maybe we've narrowed in to this one shared moment when nothing else gets in. Your jacket lies on the floor like a decision already made, but your eyes are careful, like you're still halfway, not of me, but of what happens when time loosens its hold. When the room forgot time, everything softened its grip. Seconds stretch into breathing, every movement learned how to drift. No before, no after, just this slow design. Two bodies adjusting to the absence of time. We speak less and less, not because there's nothing left, but because language feels loud next to the way we connect. Your hand rests on your thigh, mine stays where it is. The patience between those choices, thick to liberate. Light from the hallway spills in and fades as the door settles. Even the house seems to know this moment needs gentle rules. I notice the way you blink, slower than before, as if your body's learning a different rhythm. When the room forgot time, your breath became the guide. I followed it quietly, let it set the tide. Inhale, exhale, a private metronome, teaching my heartbeat how to come home. I lean back against the headboard, you mirror me without planning. Two shapes finding comfort in unspoken understanding. Your knee angles toward mine, not touching but aligned, and something ancient in me finally unwinds. I think about reaching out, but the thought dissolves into simply staying. The stillness feels resolved, like movement would rush what's meant to unfold, like waiting is part of what makes it whole. When the room forgot time, desire learned to sit without asking for proof, without forcing its fit. It just existed, warm, aware, moving through the air like shared breath. Eventually our fingers meet, soft, unannounced. No spark, no drama, just presence found. You don't tighten your grip, you don't pull away, and in that neutrality something profound stays. The outside world returns slowly, as if knocking from far, but we don't answer yet. We're still where we are, inside this pause, this delicate frame where nothing is measured and nothing needs a name. When the room forgot time, I understood the cost of always chasing moments until their meaning is lost. Sometimes the deepest connection isn't marked or defined, it's simply what happens when the room forgets time. You moved away without meaning to. Just a shift, just a breath, but something remained right where you left. The air held its shape, like it learned you, like it wasn't ready to forget that fast. And I noticed it immediately. The absence that wasn't empty. The echo of your warmth still steady. The space where your hand stays still humming, still aware, as if it touches memory, as if it lingers there. I don't reach for it, I let it exist. This quiet after contact, hard to resist. We're sitting side by side, not as close as before, yet closer than strangers ever dare to be. My skin remembers pressure even when nothing's there, and my body leans slightly toward what it can't share. You're looking ahead, pretending nothing changed, but your shoulders tell me you feel it the same. That subtle distance, charged and awake, like one small movement could cause a quake. The space where your hands stay feels warmer than the rest. A soft distortion in the room right above my chest. I swear if I moved into it, I'd recognize me, welcome me back like it's meant to be. Time slows down around us as if circling the place, not touching it, just giving it space. I think about saying something, but words will ruin the shape. This feeling needs quiet to fully escape. You finally glance at me, quick, careful, brief, as if checking if I noticed the grief or the wine or the restraint in your eyes, the way you pulled away to stay kind. The space where your hands stayed is louder than sound. It says everything without making a pound. It tells me you hesitated, not because you didn't care, but because caring was already there. I shift slightly closer, not closing the gap, just enough to acknowledge what didn't collapse. You exhale slower, like you felt it too. This silent agreement passing through. Nothing dramatic happens, and that's the truth. Desire doesn't always move in obvious proof. Sometimes it stays suspended, unclaimed, aware, like the shape of a hand still hanging there. The space where your hand stayed eventually cools, but it never disappears. It just changes its rules. It becomes memory, becomes tension, becomes part of the night that taught us intention. Later when we're apart, I'll still feel that place, not on my skin, but somewhere deeper, quiet reminder of how closeness can remain even after touch chooses restraint. The lamp is barely turned tonight. Low light, almost tired, like it knows this room has seen enough desire. Shadows sit in corners, not moving, not shy. And my thoughts get louder the quieter we are. You're on the other side of the bed, not far, not near, close enough to feel you, far enough to fear. The space between us feels intentional now, like a question we're both refusing to ask out loud. Low light, heavy thoughts pressing down on my chest. Every glimpse weighted with what we haven't confessed. I'm not sad, not restless, just full of something unnamed, desire mixed with memory, soft, uncontained. Your phone lights up once, then goes dark again, like even it understands this isn't the moment. You run your hand through your hair, slow, distracted, and I wonder what version of me you're silently imagining. The night outside hums low, traffic softened by rain. Inside my mind circles the same quiet terrain. I think about distance, about timing, about choice, about how close you are without using your voice. The night outside hums low, traffic softened by rain. Inside my mind circles the same quiet terrain. I think about distance, about timing, about choice, about how close you are without using your voice. You speak eventually, something small, something plain, but the meaning stretches far beyond the sentence you say. I answer carefully, as if words could bruise, as if honesty needs to be used. Slow to your eyes meet mine and look away, not from disinterest, but from everything they'd say. I feel the tension settle right under my skin, that quiet understanding both living in. Low light, heavy thoughts shared without exchange. Two people carrying the same thing, but naming it would change the shape of this moment, the safety of not knowing. Sometimes wait feels better than letting something open. I turn onto my side, face you fully now, not crossing the distance, just closing the angle somehow. You don't move closer, but you don't move away, and that stillness says enough for today. The light grows softer, or maybe my eyes do, as the night deepens around me and you. My thoughts slow their pace, learning how to rest. Heavy doesn't always mean bad, sometimes it just means depth. Oh, light, heavy thoughts, I let them stay. They don't need solving, they don't need a way out of this room, out of this night. They belong right here in this almost, this quiet, this low. The clock is still on the wall, but it stopped asking questions. Minutes slipping quietly out of their own direction. The room feels wider somehow, or maybe we've narrowed in to this one shared moment where nothing else gets in. Your jacket lies on the floor like a decision already made, but your eyes are careful, like you're still halfway afraid. Not of me, but of what happens when time loosens its hold. When the room forgot time, everything softened its grip. Seconds stretched into breathing, every movement learned how to drift. No before, no after, just a slow design. Two bodies adjusting to the absence of time. We speak less and less, not because there's nothing left, but because language feels loud next to the way we connect. Your hand rests on your thigh, mine stays where it is. The patience between those choices, they deliberate. Light from the hallway spills in and fades as the door settles. Even the house seems to know this moment needs gentle rules. I notice the way you blink, slower than before, as if your body's learning a different rhythm. When the room forgot time, your breath became the guide. I followed it quietly, let it set the tide. Inhale, exhale, a private metronome, teaching my heartbeat how to come home. I lean back against the headboard, you mirror me without planning. Two shapes finding comfort in unspoken understanding. Your knee angles toward mine, not touching but aligned, and something ancient in me finally unwinds. I think about reaching out, but the thought dissolves into simply staying. The stillness feels resolved, like movement would rush what's meant to unfold, like waiting is part of what makes it whole. When the room forgot time, desire learned to sit without asking for proof, without forcing its fit. It just existed, warm aware, moving through the air like shared breath. Eventually our fingers meet, soft, unannounced. No spark, no drama, just presence found. You don't tighten your grip, you don't pull away, and in that neutrality something profound stays. The outside world returns slowly, as if knocking from far, but we don't answer yet, we're still where we are. Inside this pause, this delicate frame, where nothing is measured and nothing needs a name. When the room forgot time, I understood the cost of always chasing moments until their meaning is lost. Sometimes the deepest connection isn't marked or defined, it's simply what happens when the room forgets time. Time. We weren't speaking anymore, not because there was nothing to say, but because words felt too sharp for what was happening between us. Your breath slowed first, mine followed, like it trusted you to set the pace. The space between our faces held something fragile, something listening. The quiet between our breaths was louder than anything we'd said all night. I could feel the moment stretching thin as glass, strong enough to hold us if neither of us moved wrong. Your lips parted slightly, not asking, not offering, just existing. I noticed details I never remember. Laid away, your chest rose unevenly. The warmth where your knee brushed mine. How the room seemed to dim itself out of respect. We were close enough that I could feel your hesitation before I could see it. The subtle pause right before surrender decides whether to arrive or retreat. The quiet between our breaths was where desire learned patience, where wanting didn't rush to become taking. I leaned in slowly, and not to close the distance, but to honor it. My forehead hovered near yours, close enough to blur the edges of everything else. You inhaled deep and careful, as if you were afraid the sound might break something. I exhaled into the space you left, and for a moment we shared the same air. It felt intimate in a way touch hadn't reached yet. Time stopped behaving normally. Seconds lost their shape. All that mattered was the rhythm we were building without agreeing to it. The quiet between our breaths taught me your tempo, taught me when to stay still, taught me when closeness was already enough. Your hand rested near mine, not touching, but close enough to feel the heat. That almost contact carried more weight than certainty ever does. I wondered how many people rush past this moment, how many never learned to listen here. This place where bodies confess before mouths do. When our lips finally met, it was soft, unambitious, like we were afraid of losing the silence we built. A kiss that didn't ask for more, didn't promise anything beyond itself. We pulled back slowly, still connected by breath, still suspended in that fragile calm. Nothing collapsed, nothing escalated, and somehow that made it nothing unforgettable. The quiet between our breaths stayed with me after, in the dark, in the space you left behind. In the way my body remembered how to slow down. Some moments don't need sound to echo forever. Some nights are defined by what almost happens, and the silence brave enough to hold it. There was a version of us that didn't know yet, didn't know how the other flinched or softened or went quiet when something mattered too much. Before we learned each other, everything felt lighter, not easier, just unclaimed, like a room no one had lived in long enough to leave marks. You laughed differently then, unaware of how carefully you learned to laugh later. I spoke more freely, not knowing which words would eventually need restraint. We sat across from each other, studying nothing in particular, letting curiosity do all the work. Your hands moved when you talked, larger than, less aware of us. We didn't lower our voices yet, didn't pause mid-thought to protect the moment. Silence hadn't learned our names. You lean back, arms crossed loosely, guard still unassigned. I lean forward, not knowing why, only that it felt right. Before we learned each other, desire didn't negotiate, it simply existed, warm and unrefined. No fear of reading too much, no fear of not reading enough. I remember noticing your breath, not because it meant anything, but because it was there. I remember the way you looked at me like I was a question you weren't in a hurry to answer. We didn't know what staying would cost. We didn't know how deep familiarity could go, or how heavy comfort could become when it has something to lose. That night lived separate in my memory, isolated, preserved before expectations learned to speak, before care turned into caution. When we finally moved closer, it wasn't dramatic, just instinct, untaught and unguarded, the kind you only get before you start remembering. Before we learned each other, we were lighter because we were unfinished, and sometimes in the quiet after everything else, I still feel that version of us passing through, not asking to return, just reminding me how it felt to not yet know, and still choose closeness anyway. You look different tonight, not in the way people usually mean. Not style, not age, not light. Something quieter, it shifted, like you were wearing a version of yourself that hadn't been outside yet. New skin, still learning the air. Old soul, already tired of pretending. You move slowly as if every gesture had a memory attached to it. Your smile arrived late, careful, like it had been hurt before and needed proof. I wondered how many nights had shaped you into this. How many almost, how many doors closed softly, how many times you chose silence instead of being misunderstood. When you sat beside me, I felt the contrast immediately. Your body warm and present, your eyes distant, as if part of you was still somewhere else, finishing an unfinished story. New skin, old soul, that's how you touch me. Like you learned restraint a long time ago, like you knew exactly how much pressure the moment could hold before it broke. Your fingers carried history without telling it. They paused in places pages most people rush through. You touch like someone who understands consequences, but still chooses feeling. The room accepted you easily. Lamplights softened, shadows slowed their movement. Even the night seemed to recognize you, like it had seen you before in another life. I caught you watching me when you thought I wasn't looking. Not with hunger, with recognition. That subtle look that says I know what it costs to be here. New skin, old soul. You leaned in, not to take, but to rest. Forehead close to mine, breath aligning. Nothing demanded. I felt something loosening me, a part that stays guarded around people who only want what's easy. You didn't feel easy, you felt real. There was sadness in you, but not the loud kind. The kind that's learned how to sit quietly, how to share space without asking for rescue. I wanted to ask who you were before, what broke, what healed wrong. I didn't. Some truths don't want questions, they want company. When you finally kissed me, it was unhurried, as if time owed you patience. I tasted familiarity in something brand new. New skin, old soul. You stayed long enough to leave a mark without leaving a wound. Long enough to remind me that depth doesn't always announce itself. When the night thinned and morning threatened the edges, you pulled back gently, like you knew when to stop. And I realized some people don't come to begin again, they come to recognize what's already there. There was a version of us that didn't know yet, didn't know how the other flinched or softened or went quiet when something mattered too much. Before we learned each other, everything felt lighter, not easier, just unclaimed, like a room no one had lived in long enough to leave marks. You laughed differently then, unaware of how carefully you learned to laugh later. I spoke more freely, not knowing which words would eventually need restraint. We sat across from each other, studying nothing in particular, letting curiosity do all the work. Your hands moved when you talked, mine stayed still, already listening. Before we learned each other, touch wasn't loaded, and me brushing a knee was just proximity, not a sentence with consequences. A look held too long was curiosity, not confession. I miss that innocence sometimes, not because it was better, but because it was untouched. Before patterns formed we learned each other, desire didn't negotiate, it simply existed, warm and unrefined. No fear of reading too much, no fear of not reading enough. I remember noticing your breath, not because it meant anything, but because it was there. I remember the way you looked at me like I was a question you weren't in a hurry to answer. We didn't know what staying would cost, we didn't know how deep familiarity could go, or how heavy comfort could become when it has something to lose. That night lived separate in my memory, isolated, preserved before expectations learned to speak, before care turned into caution. When we finally moved closer, it wasn't dramatic, just instinct, untaught and unguarded, the kind you only get before you start remembering. Before we learned each other, we were lighter because we were unfinished, and sometimes in the quiet after everything else, I still feel that version of us passing through. Not asking to return, just reminding me how it felt to not yet know, and still choose closeness anyway. The lights were low enough to forgive everything. Edges softened, corners disappeared, even time seemed less certain under that gentle glow. You look different there, not because of shadow, but because softness reveals what clarity hides. Your face calm, your eyes somewhere far inside, as if you were visiting yourself while sitting right in front of me. Soft lights, unfamiliar heart, that was the balance. Comfort without history, closeness without memory. I noticed how carefully you occupied your own body, the way you sat, as if you were still learning what parts of yourself were safe to let rest. We spoke slowly, each sentence landing gently, like neither of us wanted to disturb whatever was forming. Your voice lowered without trying, mine followed instinctively. There's something disarming about warmth with no context, no past to lean on, no future demanding shape, just present, quiet and unclaimed. Soft lights blur the room into something almost cinematic. I wondered if you felt it too, that strange intimacy that appears before familiarity, before names and patterns. Your heart felt unfamiliar, not closed, just unread. A book open to a page, written in a language I hadn't learned yet. When you leaned closer, it wasn't decisive, more like gravity testing its influence. I stayed still, not wanting to rush the discovery of who you were becoming in this moment. Your hand rested near mine. Again that almost touch. Again that quiet electricity. I felt it more than contact. Felt it in the way my breathing changed and how my shoulders. Soft lights, unfamiliar heart. I realized I like not knowing, like the absence of expectation. The way curiosity felt cleaner than assumption. You smiled suddenly small and unguarded, as if something inside you had just relaxed its grip. I felt something answer inside me, subtle but certain. The night held us gently, didn't ask for proof, didn't push for clarity. It let the moment exist without direction. If this never became more, it would still matter. That's the truth I didn't say. That being this close to someone unknown can be its own kind of intimacy. When we finally stood, the light seemed brighter, almost intrusive. You hesitated, then met my eyes again, as if checking whether this was real. Soft lights, unfamiliar heart. I carried the feeling with me long after the room went dark. That quiet warmth of not knowing and choosing to stay present anyway. Some connections don't arrive fully formed. They begin as atmosphere, as light, as a heart you haven't learned yet and don't wanna rush. We were careful with each other then, not out of fear, out of not knowing where the edges were. Your name still felt new in my mouth. Mine hadn't settled on you yet. We spoke like people walking through unfamiliar rooms, touching nothing without permission. We were still strangers then, but not distant, close in that tentative way where everything feels possible, because nothing has history. I remember how polite we were, how we listened closely, as if missing a detail might cost us something later. Your stories were still introductions, not references. Mine were still explanations. You sat across from me, body angled slightly away, as if leaving room for uncertainty to breathe. I liked that you didn't rush closer. It made the closeness feel earned. We were still strangers then, so silence didn't scare us. It felt neutral and claimed a place to rest without expectation. noticed how you held your cup, both hands wrapped around it, as if grounding yourself in solid. I noticed everything, because nothing was familiar enough to fade into background. Your laugh surprised you, mine surprised me. We smiled after, not sure what it meant, only that it felt good to share something unplanned. We were still strangers then, so desire stayed quiet, not absent, just patient. It watched from a distance, learning our shapes when our knees touched. We both froze for half a second, not awkward, aware. That brief stillness said more than an apology ever could. I wondered who you were when you were alone. You probably wondered the same about me. We didn't ask, some questions need time to grow into themselves. The night didn't treat us specially yet. It hadn't adjusted its lighting, hadn't slowed its rhythm. It was just a night, unaware of what might come later. We were still strangers then, and that gave the moment a certain honesty. No assumptions, no roles, just two people choosing to stay present when we said goodbye. It felt unfinished, not incomplete, open like a sentence paused mid-thought, waiting to see if it would be continued. I walked away carrying that version of us, untouched by familiarity, unshaped by expectation. A memory defined by possibility, not outcome. Sometimes I miss that night, not because it was better than what followed, but because it was pure. We were still strangers then, and everything was still allowed to become something else. There was a night before the wait arrived, before choices learn consequences, before we started editing ourselves for safety. That's where this lives. When everything was still possible, we sat in the middle of uncertainty, and it felt wide, not empty, open like the future hadn't decided how close it was then. You smile without meaning anything by it. I returned it the same way, no subtext yet, no memory attached, just two expressions existing without defense. When everything was still possible, we didn't measure moments, we let them happen. Laughter came easily, left quietly, nothing felt not shallow, unburdened, as if you hadn't been asked yet to become important. The night hadn't chosen a mood, music low and distant, lights forgiving, time cooperative, even silence felt generous when everything was still possible. Desire hadn't picked a direction, it wandered, curious but undecided. It didn't need to arrive anywhere. Your knee brushed mine and it meant nothing, which is to say, and then everything later. At the time, it was just proximity. I watched you talk, hands moving freely, unaware of how closely I was paying attention. I liked that about you, that you weren't performing yet. We didn't imagine aftermath, didn't ask who would stay, didn't wonder how it might end. Endings weren't part of the vocabulary when everything was still possible. Even leaving felt gentle, a goodbye that didn't make a promise, not yet invented. I carried that night with me, not because it was intense, but because it was unclaimed, because it belonged to no storyline but itself. Later, possibility would narrow, moments would harden into decision, care would learn fear, but that night remains untouched, preserved in its openness, a reminder of how it feels before things ask for a commitment, when everything was still possible. We didn't know what we were starting, and that ignorance was its own kind of grace. Sometimes, in the quiet after everything else, I return there, not to change the outcome, but to remember how light it felt. To not yet know. The room is quiet, but your breath is loud. Shadows dancing on the wall right now. Your fingers tracing thoughts I never say. It's getting harder just to look away. Hey. The night is slow, like it knows our names. Every second pulling me closer to the flame. I don't ask questions, I just let it slide. I'm already lost the moment you're inside. We don't need words tonight. Silence says it all. Your body's speaking for you, and I don't wanna fight it at all. It feels like the first time, every time you touch me like that, like the world outside doesn't exist. Just skin, just breath, just that. It feels like the first time, even though I know it's not. Your love hits me slow and deep, like something I forgot. Your lips move closer, but you hesitate, like you're scared of what we might create. I feel your heartbeat losing control, matching mine, losing its role. The lights are low, the time stands still. care if this is wrong or real. I just know when you're this close, I forget who I'm supposed to be the most. We're standing on the edge of something we won't name. If this is only for tonight, I'll still let it burn the same. It feels like the first time, every time you pull me in, like I've never been this close, like I've never let anyone in. It feels like the first time your hands tell me the truth. I don't need forever right now, I just need this moment with you. Slow down, don't rush the night, let the silence do it right. Every touch is a confession, every breath is an obsession. If this ends when the sun comes up, I'll still remember how it felt, the way you made me forget myself. It feels like the first time when your body's next to mine, like nothing before this mattered, like I ran out of time. It feels like the first time, I don't wanna wake up yet. If this is all we get, I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take a little longer. Let the night decide, even if tomorrow fades us tonight. We're alive, we're alive. The lights were low enough to stop recognizing us. Faces softening to outlines, like we were becoming something unnamed. Your reflection stayed quiet in the darkened glass, not asking who I was, not reminding me who I'm supposed to be. We sat there breathing in the same slow rhythm, as if the room was teaching us how to disappear gently. When the lights forget our name, we become closer to truth. No labels hanging from our mouths, no past tugging at our sleeves, just presence, warm and unguarded. Your voice moves slowly, like it was careful not to wake the walls, the floor, or the memories waiting outside this moment. I watched your hands rest without intention, not reaching, not pulling, just existing with quiet confidence. There was comfort in that restraint, and knowing nothing was demanded. Desire sitting patiently like a glass untouched between us. The city hums somewhere distant, a reminder of other life eyes which sound might call the world back into the room. I didn't want a future right then, I wanted this softness, this suspended closeness that didn't ask for tomorrow. If the lights never remembered us, I think I'd be okay being anonymous inside your presence for a little longer. Because some connections are meant to be named, they're meant to be felt in the dark where truth doesn't echo. And when morning eventually arrives, asking questions we avoided, I'll still remember how we existed perfectly when the lights forgot our name. You look calm, like nothing was happening, like the night hadn't chosen you as its favorite secret to keep. Your face held this still expression, the one that lies convincingly, while something restless moves underneath, patient and alive. I could feel it without touching, a slow fire under quiet skin, not urgent, not loud, just burning steadily like it knew it had time. We didn't rush toward anything, we stayed inside the almost, where tension lives comfortably, where desire stretches without breaking. Your silence wasn't empty, it was intentional, a careful way of holding heat without letting it escape through careless words. I watched the way you swallowed, like you were containing something, a thought, a one, maybe a memory you didn't want to wake. The room was dim enough to forgive hesitation, shadows softening our edges, giving us permission to stay unfinished. That slow fire under quiet skin kept speaking in temperature and closeness, in the way your presence leaned toward mine without moving. I wasn't trying to uncover you, I liked the restraint, the idea that some things become more intense when they remain hidden. Every breath you took felt deliberate, as if you were measuring how much of yourself to allow into the space. The night held us gently, not pushing, not pulling, just watching, like it understood this kind of tension needs silence. I imagined your thoughts moving slowly, circling the same desire again and again, without needing a solution. If I touched you then, it would have broken the spell, so I stay still, letting awareness do the work, touching without hands. That fire didn't need ignition, it was already alive, fed by proximity, by patience, by what we chose not to do. And maybe nothing happened in the obvious sense, but something stayed with me after, something warm and deliberate, because I still remember that quiet intensity, the way restraint can feel heavier than that. as the part that burned the longest. It didn't arrive suddenly. That calm and settled in quietly. After desire finished speaking and left the room, I noticed it in my breathing first, how it slowed like my body understood. Something had already happened without needing proof. The calm after wanting you felt warm, not empty. A soft aftermath where longing stops reaching and starts resting. I sat there alone but not lonely, the night still carrying your impression like a hell note. Warning had been intense but brief, like a wave that knows exactly when to pull back without leaving damage. The room felt balanced again, furniture unmoved, air returning to neutral as if nothing had shifted except me. The calm after wanting you wasn't resignation, it was clarity, desire stepping aside to let understanding breathe. I thought about your face without urgency, without hunger, just recognition of what passed through me. It surprised me how peaceful it felt to not reach anymore, to allow the feeling to complete itself. Even memory softened, edges dissolving in its truth and magenta, or something that didn't ask to be replayed. The night outside continued normally, cars passing, lights blinking, but inside everything felt resolved without explanation. The calm after wanting you taught me something quiet, that not all desire needs fulfillment to feel meaningful. I didn't miss you in the usual way, I appreciated you like a moment that ended correctly. There was no ache, no unfinished sentence, just a slow acceptance, settling comfortably into stillness. I breathed deeply then and felt grounded, as if wanting you would rearrange something, then calm put it back gently. Now when I think of you, it's without tension, just a soft awareness that you were there at the right time. Because sometimes desire doesn't lead to more, it leads to peace, and that can be just intimate. We didn't explain ourselves, and nothing demanded we do. The night didn't ask questions, it simply stayed and let us be. There was relief in that, and not having to define what we were doing or why we stayed longer than planned. The room felt permissive, not encouraging, just open like it trusted us to move at our own pace. And I didn't ask questions about intention or outcome. It accepted presence as enough reason to remain. Your expression softened, uncertainty became unnecessary. Shoulders easing, breath deepening like pressure had quietly left. We spoke less as time passed, words losing importance while silence grew articulate, saying things without interrogation. The outside world felt distant, uninterested in us. Cars passed, lights blinked, but none of it intruded on our quiet agreement. The night didn't ask questions, and neither did we. We let curiosity exist without forcing it toward answers. I noticed how calm desire felt when it wasn't evaluated, when it could sit naturally without being measured or justified. Your presence was enough context, no backstory required, just awareness shared between breaths and pauses. Time loosened its grip, minutes slipping by unnoticed, as if clocks respected the suspension and chose not to interfere. I thought about tomorrow briefly, then let it go, realizing some moments lose meaning when projected forward. The night didn't ask questions because it already knew. This kind of closeness only survives when left unnamed. When we finally shifted positions, it felt unimportant, nothing dramatic, just movement, acceptance. Even now, I remember that freedom, how it felt to exist without being defined or a sight. Because some connections don't want clarity, they want space and a quiet night that lets them happen. I didn't need to see you clearly. The dark was enough. It softened details and sharpened presence in ways light never does. I memorized you in the dark, not your face, but your timing, the rhythm of how you existed beside me. Your movements were minimal, yet distinct. Every shift of weight, every pause registered quietly. The room gave us permission to rely on feeling, on awareness instead of confirmation or clarity. I memorized you in the dark, the way your breath slowed when you felt safe, the way silence settled around you. There was comfort in not seeing, in letting imagination rest, and letting attention do the work of connection. Your warmth became a map, not precise, but familiar, guiding my thoughts without effort. We didn't speak much, you just felt so as if sound might interfere with the accuracy of memory forming. I memorized you in the dark, because darkness is honest. It keeps only what matters and lets the rest fade quietly. Time passed unnoticed, each minute folding into the next, until memory and present felt indistinguishable. For a while, I wondered if you felt it too, that subtle imprinting that happens when stillness lasts long enough. Even your absence later felt recognizable, like the dark had stored you somewhere inside it and handed you back to me. I didn't memorize you to keep you. I memorized you to understand how closeness can exist fully without visibility. Now when the lights go out, I remember you more clearly than I ever could in daylight, because the dark taught me how to notice. And sometimes that's enough to feel close again, without reaching or reopening anything. Time felt fragile then, after midnight, before goodbye, like the night was thinning and didn't wanna be noticed. Nothing dramatic happened, which made it heavier. Every small movement felt loaded with awareness. After midnight, before goodbye, is where moments slow down, where presence becomes careful, and every second feels borrowed. You spoke softer, as if volume might hurry the ending, as if quiet could delay it. I watched your gestures closely, the way you reached for nothing, then stopped as though ending of gravity. After midnight, before goodbye, means everything matters more. Glances, pauses, even the way we stood a little closer. The room felt temporary, already adjusting to your absence, even while you were still there, still breathing. I wanted to freeze it, not forever, just long enough to understand what I was feeling. Your eyes held something unspoken, not regret, not promise, just recognition of what this was. After midnight, before goodbye, is a space without language, where explanation would feel intrusive, and silence feels respectful. We didn't plan the ending, we felt it approaching, slowing in, inevitable, like dawn pressing lightly against together on purpose. Even now, I think of that hour, not as an ending, but as a passage that changed something quietly. Because after midnight, night before goodbye is where connections crystallize, not in action, but in awareness of what cannot stay. They didn't arrive together. Love came first, quiet, observant, sitting down gently as if it planned to stay. Let's follow later, unannounced, not demanding, just curious about the space love created. Love and lust, breathing slowly, not competing, not tangled, just coexisting in the same soft rhythm. The room felt calm enough to hold both, no urgency in the air, no expectation that one had to win. I noticed how my body reacted without rushing, breath deepening, heartbeat evening out as if alignment mattered more than impulse. Love watched carefully, patient and warm, while lust stayed low, a subtle heat that didn't need ignition. Love and lust, breathing slowly, felt adult, felt honest, like desire had learned how to listen. You were there quietly, not performing either role, just present, letting me feel without directing it. There was no internal argument, no need to define what I was experiencing, only in awareness that both emotions felt real. The night seemed designed for this balance, lights dim, sound soften, everything moving at half speed, out of respect for complexity. Love leaned toward memory, toward meaning, while lust stayed physical, close to breathe in proximity, but neither pulled away. Love and lust, breathing slowly, created a kind of peace where wanting didn't disturb and caring didn't restrain either one. I felt grounded, not conflicted, as if the body and the heart had finally agreed to share a space. Nothing escalated, nothing needed to. The intensity lived in restraint and mutual awareness. When the moment passed, it did so gently, without residue, without hunger, only a quiet completeness. Even now I think of that balance, how rare it is to feel both without tension. Because when love and lust breathe slowly, they don't consume you, they sit beside you, warm and steady through the night. like the night hadn't chosen you as his favorite secret to keep. Your face held that still expression, the one that lies convincingly while something restless moves underneath. Patient and alive, I could feel it without touching that slow fire under quiet skin. Not urgent, not loud, just burning steadily like it knew it had time. We didn't rush toward anything. We stayed inside the almost, where tension lives comfortably, where desire stretches without breaking. Your silence wasn't empty, it was intentional. A careful way of holding heat without letting it escape through careless words. I watched the way you swallow like you were containing something, a thought, a want, maybe a memory you didn't want to wake. The room was dim enough to forgive hesitation, shadows softening our edges, giving us permission to stay unfinished. That slow fire under quiet skin kept speaking in temperature and closeness, in the way your presence leaned toward mine without moving. I wasn't trying to uncover you, I like the restraint, the idea that some things become more intense when they remain hidden. Every breath you took felt deliberate, as if you were measuring how much of yourself to allow into the space. The night held us gently, not pushing, not pulling, just watching like it understood this kind of tension needs silence. I imagined your thoughts moving slowly, circling the same desire again and again without needing resolution. If I touched you then it would have broken the spell, so I stayed still, letting awareness do the work, touching without hands. That fire didn't need ignition, it was already alive, fed by proximity, by patience, by what we chose not to do. And maybe nothing happened in the obvious sense, but something stayed with me after, something warm and deliberate, because I still remember that quiet intensity, the way restraint can feel heavier than action when the night is listening. There is a part of you I never reached, and somehow that's the part that burned the longest. The curtains were already closed before we decided anything. Like the room knew this night wouldn't need privacy. Streetlights faded into fabric, the world softened immediately. Sounds losing their edges, time slowing down out of courtesy. Curtains closed, hearts open, not dramatically, just gradually, like trust finding its way through space. missing each other. Nothing between us except air and intention. Both charged but calm, your eyes adjusted to the dark, and so did mine. Learning to see feeling instead of detail, tone instead of shape. I noticed how relaxed you became once the outside disappeared. Shoulders lowering, breath deepening, as if visibility had been a weight. We didn't perform, we existed, letting presence do the work of connection without instruction. Curtains closed, hearts open, felt less like a decision, more like a condition created by a stillness and shared quiet. Your voice softened naturally, finding a slower pace, each word landing carefully like it wanted to stay unspoken. I answered honestly, not fully but enough, choosing sincerity over completeness. The room held warmth gently, no rush, no pressure, just space for emotion to unfold at its own speed. I felt something open in me too, subtle but real, a willingness to be seen differently, not clearly but kindly. We lean closer emotionally without touching, allowing vulnerability to breathe between us. Some connections need enclosure to feel safe. Walls, fabric, darkness, working together to protect what's forming. Curtains closed, hearts open, means no witnesses, no expectations, just two interiors sharing air. And when the night deepened further, I knew this moment would stay with me, not for what happened, but for what we allow. Because openness doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it whispers behind drawn curtains, waiting for the right silence to exist. You were already gone, but the room hadn't accepted it yet. Your outline still resting against the wall, like it expected you back. The lights stay low on purpose, refusing to clean up the night, holding on to traces of movement that no longer belong to anyone. Your shadow still undressed, not exposed, just unfinished, caught between presence and memory. I stood there longer than needed, watching absence behave like company, feeling how silence can still carry shape and warmth. The chair remembered you first, the way it leaned slightly, as if your weight had decided to stay. I touched nothing out of respect for how recently you existed, how fragile the atmosphere still felt. Your shadow still undressed, meant intimacy without bodies, meant closeness after departure when desire hasn't caught up. The night played you quietly, not visually but emotionally, a loop of impressions, soft and persistent. I wondered if you felt it too. That delay, separation, relieving happens physically but lingers elsewhere, longer than planned. Even the air felt altered, holding heat uneasy, as if your breath had taught it a different rhythm. I didn't miss you dramatically, I noticed you, which felt more honest, more precise, more difficult. Your shadow still undressed, stayed vulnerable without asking permission. A reminder that connection outlasts contact. I thought about calling you, not to say anything important, just to acknowledge that something hadn't fully ended. But I stayed quiet, letting the room finish grieving in its own slow language of stillness and dim light. Eventually the shadow faded as dawn pressed closer, but the feeling didn't. It folded itself inside me carefully. Now sometimes at night when light hits the wall just right, I feel that same pause where memory breathes without being invited. Because some people leave before the night is ready, and some shadows take longer to get dressed than the bodies that cast them. Didn't arrive. Suddenly the calm is settled in quietly. After desire finished speaking and left the room, I noticed it in my breathing first, how it slowed like my body understood. Something had already happened without needing proof. The calm after wanting you felt warm, not empty. A soft aftermath where longing stops reaching and starts resting. I sat there alone, but not lonely. The night still carrying your impression like I held no warning. Had been intense but brief, like a wave that knows exactly when to pull back without leaving damage. The room felt balanced again, furniture unmoved, air returning to neutral, as if nothing had shifted except me. The calm after wanting you wasn't resignation, it was clarity, desire stepping aside to let understanding breathe. I thought about your face, I thought urgency without hunger, just recognition of what passed through me. It surprised me how peaceful it felt to not reach anymore, to allow the feeling to complete itself. Even memory softened, edges dissolving into something gentler, something that didn't ask to be replayed. The night outside continued normally, cars passing, lights blinking, but inside everything felt resolved without explanation. didn't miss you in the usual way. I appreciated you like a moment that ended correctly. There was no wait, no unfinished sentence, just a slow acceptance, settling comfortably into stillness. I breathed deeply then and felt grounded, as if wanting you had rearranged something and calm put it back gently. Now when I think of you, it's without tension, just a soft awareness that you were there at the right time. Because sometimes desire doesn't lead to more, it leads to peace, and that can be just as in that. The night stretched out carefully, like it didn't wanna rush us. Pillows untouched, lights undecided, everything waiting. We lay there fully awake, pretending rest was possible. Bodies close enough to confuse intention with comfort. We almost slept, we almost loved, hovering in that fragile place where desire softens and exhaustion feels intimate. Without surrender, your eyes closed briefly, then opened again, as if sleep came near but didn't feel invited to stay. The room hummed quietly, a low patient sound, as if it knew this wasn't night for restraint. I could feel your warmth through the thin distance, not reaching, not retreating, just present and aware. We almost slept, we almost loved, meaning neither fully happened, but both left impressions on the air and on us. My thoughts slowed down but didn't disappear. They wandered gently between what could happen and what shouldn't. Your breathing changed rhythm, not quite sleep, not quite anticipation. A soft in between that felt deliberate. I wondered what you were thinking, if your mind traced the same paths, or if you were simply there listening to the night do its quiet work. The ceiling washed without comment, shadows unmoving, time suspended, like it respected our hesitation. We almost slept, we almost loved, and somehow that almost felt heavier than certainty ever does. Nothing crossed the line, but everything approached. approached it carefully, curiously, without force. Eventually the night grew deeper and we let the stillness win. Not disappointed, just thoughtful about what we held back. When morning finally arrived, it felt abrupt, like it interrupted something unfinished but intentional. Even now I remember that restraint, that shared awareness, where closeness didn't demand a conclusion. Because some nights aren't meant to resolve, they're meant to linger as near misses that stay warm inside you. Your lips hesitated right before the sentence landed, as if they already knew. Some truths change the air once they exist. I watched that pause closely, a micro moment where honesty considered retreat and vulnerability held its breath. Lips pausing before the truth carry more weight than the words themselves. They reveal intention before language decides. The room felt attentive as the walls leaned in, aware that something delicate was about to surface or disappear. You started then stopped, not out of fear, but out of awareness, knowing timing is part of meaning. Lips pausing before the truth meant care, meant not wanting to bruise the quiet we had built carefully. I stayed still so you wouldn't feel rushed, so the moment could choose its own direction without pressure. Your breath changed slightly, a subtle shift that said more than a full confession ever could. The night respected that hesitation, keeping its distance, not demanding clarity, not pushing for resolution. I realized then how intimacy lives in restraint, in the choice to hold something back out of regard. Lips pausing before the truth don't lie. They negotiate between desire and consequence with surprising tenderness. When you finally spoke, it was softer than expected, not dramatic, just honest enough to stay safe. And even what remained unsaid felt acknowledged, like silence nodded quietly in understanding instead of denial. The moment didn't escalate, it deepened, settling into something steadier, something aware of its own fragility. I remember that pause often, more than the words, because it revealed how much you cared about what could change. Some truths are meant to stay internal, where it could move freely without consequence. It echoed in my chest instead, soft but persistent, like a thought that refuses to become sound. Out of respect, your name echoing in my chest felt safer than speaking it. Less commitment, more awareness, less risk. The room stayed neutral, unaware of the repetition, while inside something kept returning to the same syllables. I noticed how my breathing changed every time the thought appeared, a subtle tightening followed by release, like recognition. Your name echoing in my chest was an obsession, it was presence, lingering quietly without asking for response. You were sitting right there, close enough that saying it would have altered the moment in ways I didn't want. So I kept it internal, let the feeling remain unexposed, unmeasured, intact. And I'd absorb the silence without impatience, allowing private thoughts to stay private without guilt. I wondered if you felt something similar, your own version of this unspoken repetition settling somewhere beneath language. Your name echoing in my chest became a rhythm, not distracting, just steady like a second heartbeat. Time passed gently without urgency, and the echo softened, not disappearing, just learning when to rest. I didn't need resolution or acknowledgement, the feeling was complete simply by existing inside me. Even later alone, the echo returned, not louder, just familiar, like a memory that breathes. Because some names don't need to be said to be felt fully, they resonate best in quiet places. And sometimes holding a name inside is the most intimate way to stay close without crossing lines. They didn't arrive together. Love came first, quiet, observant, sitting down gently, as if it planned to stay. Lust followed later, unannounced, not demanding, just curious about the space love created. Love and lust breathing slowly, not competing, not tangled, just coexisting in the same soft rhythm. The room felt calm enough to hold both. No urgency in the air, no expectation that one had to win. I noticed how my body reacted without rushing, breath deepening, heartbeat evening out, as if alignment mattered more than impulse. Love watched carefully, patient and warm, while lust stayed low, A subtle heat that didn't need ignition. Love and lust, breathing slowly. Felt adult, felt honest, like desire had learned how to listen. You were there quietly, not performing either role, just present, letting me feel without directing it. There was no internal argument, no need to define what I was experiencing. Only an awareness that both emotions felt real. The night seemed designed for this balance. Lights dim, sound soft, and everything moving at half speed, out of respect for complexity. Love leaned toward memory, toward meaning, while lust stayed physical, close to breathing proximity, but neither pulled away. Love and lust, breathing slowly, created a kind of peace where wanting didn't disturb and caring didn't restrain either one. I felt grounded, not conflicted, as if the body and the heart had finally agreed to share space. Nothing escalated, nothing needed to the intensity lived in restraint. The mutual awareness when the moment passed it did so gently, without residue, without hunger, only a quiet completeness. Even now I think of that balance, how rare it is to feel both without tension. Because when love and lust breathe slowly, they don't consume you, they sit beside you, warm and steady through the night. We didn't turn the music off, it just stopped asking to be heard. The room settled into itself like it knew what we needed. Your keys on the table, my breath held halfway between thought and confession. We sit close but not touching, close enough for meaning to pass without movement. The clock forgets its job, the walls stop leaning in, and silence steps forward, careful, curious. At first it's awkward, this much quiet, like a question with no edges. But then it changes, it softens, it starts to recognize us. The way my shoulders drop, the way you stay. There's a moment when silence stops being empty and starts being accurate. It learns the sound of my pulse when you shift beside me. It learns how your breath slows when I don't look away. Outside, something distant moves on. Sirens, engines, other lives, but in here, nothing competes, nothing interrupts. The quiet takes notes, memorizes the shape of us without asking what we are. I wanna speak, but only to test it, to see if silence would mind. I decide not to. Some things feel true or untranslated. Some things survive better without names. You glance at me, then look back down, like you're respecting the moment, like you're isn't tension, it's alignment. Two separate thoughts agreeing to pause. The silence grows warmer, more familiar, like it's been here before, like it remembers us eventually. It knows our timing, our hesitations are almost words. It settles between us, not as absence but as witness. When we finally stand, the quiet stays behind, still holding our outlines, still knowing who we were for a few uninterrupted minutes, when silence learned our names and didn't feel the need to call us by them. I'm not here with the room acts like you. Hard chair, pull hair way up, like been where you used to stand. Even the air hesitates before moving on, like it's waiting for permission. It's hard to stay behind, not short, not dramatic, just a soft outline, clinging to the walls that stretches when the land flickers, shrinks when I breathe too deep, as if it knows I'm trying not to miss you. I walk barefoot through the quiet, counting forwards by midnight. There's a warmth that doesn't belong to the heater or the night. It settles on my shoulders, familiar, uninvited. Welcome anyway. I sit where you once leaned and feel the echo of your weight. Not physical, something sensual, like I had it. The wound hasn't broken yet, the silence goes as shared, 'cause you taught it how. This isn't loneliness, this is residue, a presence without intention, a closeness without demand. Your shadow doesn't touch me, but you know that it stayed. It keeps a respectful distance, and somehow that feels intimate. Outside, lights will on without to fall asleep. The room shifted, I swear it did. Walls inching in, not to trap us, but to listen better. Like even the corners wanted to hear what we weren't saying. The lamp dimmed itself without asking. Shadows thicken in the spaces between objects. Your glass on the table, my jacket on the floor. Everything closer than it needed to be. We didn't move, but the distance did, closing slowly, respectfully, as if the night had learned our pace and decided to follow it. Your breath changed first, not faster, just deeper, and the room noticed, adjusted its temperature to match. Even the air felt intentional, like it was juice inside. I felt watched, not by you, but by the space itself, like the room leaned in, curious, patient, wanting to know how this would unfold. Every sound softened, footsteps outside, electric hum, the small betrayals of time, all of it stepped back, gave us room by taking it away. You glanced around as if you felt it too, that quiet compression, that gentle oppression, not urgent, not demanding, just present. If we touched the room, we'll remember. If we didn't, it would still know it was already involved, already holding its breath, already closer than before. Eventually, nothing happened, and that was the point. The room leaned closer tonight, and we let it, we stayed exactly where we were, and somehow that felt intimate enough. The walls don't echo in here. They absorb like they were built for this hour. For voices kept low, for thoughts that don't want witnesses. Even the ceiling feels closer, less curious, more protective. We sit against opposite sides of the same quiet, not hiding, just contain. Your words arrive slowly, carefully chosen, like you trust the walls more than the air. I notice how the room listens without reacting. No sharp corners, no judgment, just soft surfaces, learning the weight of what we leave unsaid, and choosing not to repeat it. Your laugh comes out once, short, surprised by itself, it lands gently, never bouncing back. I feel my chest loosen a fraction, as if the walls made room for it. This isn't confession, it's placement, setting truths down where they won't roll away, they won't demand answers. The walls hold everything, evenly yours, mine, whatever lies between. Light moves across them slowly, like time checking in and deciding to stay out of it. I run my fingers along the pain, feeling the quiet thickness, like memory, like intention. If the night asks questions later, this room won't answer. It will keep its shape, keep its silence, keep our secrets folded neatly inside its softness. We don't promise anything, we don't need to. The walls already agreed to carry the weight, to keep things warm without needing names. When we finally leave, the room doesn't change back, it stays this way, slightly softer, slightly fuller, holding what we trusted it with. Soft walls holding our secrets long after we're gone. It's not the heat from the heater, or the blanket pulled too high. There's something quieter, something that doesn't announce itself, the kind of warmth that waits before it settles, that adjusts when you shift. You're sitting across from me, knees drawn in, hands still, eyes lowered, and I feel it there, listening, presence in the room, as if comfort decided to pay attention. Nothing here is trying to fix you, nothing rushing towards solutions. The air feels open, patient, like it has time to hear the full story without interrupting, without summarizing. You speak slowly, not because you're careful, but because the words are heavy, and this warmth knows how to hold weight. It doesn't flinch, it doesn't redirect, it stays exactly where it is. I don't lean in, I don't reach out, I let listening be enough. Some closeness doesn't need touch, it needs permission to exist without urgency, to stay unfinished. The light in the room softens again, as if responding, as if the walls understand tone. Even silence feels cooperative, holding space instead of filling it. I notice how my own breathing changes, slows, widens, like my body trusts this moment not to turn sharp. The warmth moves subtly, never demanding, never claiming. This isn't intimacy built on answers, it's built on presence, on staying still when leaving would be easier, on choosing to remain open without asking for proof. Your voice trails off, not because it's done, but because it's tired. The warmth listens all the way past the words, past the meaning, into the pause that follows. We sit there longer than expected, nothing resolves, nothing needs to this stays quietly attentive, the kind of warmth that listens and never has to be thanked. We talk around it, careful, like circling a low flame, pretending it isn't changing the room. Your sentences end early, mine take long detours. Every pause carries more weight than anything we're brave enough to say. The air thickens quietly, not dramatic, just undeniable. I feel it climb from the floor up my spine, settling somewhere behind my ribs, where restraint usually lives. You look at me, then look away, like you've touched something hot without meaning to. The silence that follows isn't empty, it's crowded with almost confessions, with words holding their breath. Heat rises from unsaid words, slow, persistent, the kind that doesn't burn right away, the kind that waits until you're sure you can't ignore it anymore. I notice how close you sit now, not intentionally closer, just less careful, as if the space between us got tired and decided to shrink on its own. My body reacts before my thoughts catch up. We could speak and cool this down, we both know that, but clarity feels like a loss tonight, like naming it would flatten something delicate, something still forming in the quiet. Your knee brushes mine accidentally, then stays. The contact is small, but the reaction isn't. I stay still, so I don't scare the moment away, so I don't turn tension into something that needs answers. Heat doesn't always mean urgency, sometimes it means focus. Everything else fades, details sharpen. I hear my own breathing, like it's coming from someone else. Slower, deeper, more honest. You start to say something and stop. I feel the absence of it, like a physical thing hovering between us. That unfinished sentence adds another degree, another layer, another reason not to rush the room. Adjust again, like it's learning all limits. Lights feel warmer, shadows closer, even time seems affected, stretching slightly as if waiting to see what we'll do. This isn't frustration, it's concentration. Two people holding back, not out of fear, but out of awareness, knowing that once spoken, some things can't return to this temperature. Eventually nothing is said and everything changes anyway. The heat settles in, steady, contained, alive. We sit inside it, letting it exist without release, without explanation. Later we're alone with ourselves, those words will surface. Probably too late, probably imperfect, but right now their silence is doing